Hi, my name's Jeff Rhodes, and this is another video based on my book, Creating Business Applications with Microsoft 365. And today we're going to talk about Power Automate. But let's take a quick look at the book. And I can see it here on Amazon. I've got some 4 ratings, so I'd love to see some more. And but selling pretty well, number 10 in SharePoint guides and some other ones. So thanks for taking a look at that. What we want to do today is I want to show you how to loop through some information in whether it's a SharePoint list or an Excel spreadsheet and collect the information and then send, say an email or a Teams chat, once we have all the information together. So this has come up when I've been helping others and I've had to do it myself a few times. And it's a little more tricky than you might think. So I just thought I'd cover that. So again, rather than looping through this whole list and first send it to myself, and then send it to Sue, then send something to James again, then back to Sue, back to myself. We want to collect all the information. And so let's go over to Power Automate. I'm just going to do this as a instant flow, but you might do it in response, like schedule it if you're like checking for a version of this. It checks for anything that's say older than 10 days, and then everything that is, you loop through and send every reminder for all their items that are late, things like that. So we're going to do, so I'll just say video loop through, POCs. Let's say that. We're going to manually, I'll copy that. Sometimes I lose that so I'm just going to manually trigger it. And what we want to do then, and the key to this whole thing is really the get item. So I'll just say SharePoint here. And you can see I see get items, right there. So I'll go ahead and do that. Hopefully I can find my samples. And my list name was called Personnel Actions. We'll find that. There we go. And the key to this is both our query, and in this case, I'm going to get all the items. So I don't need to filter, but often, like I said, if you have that date, you'll have to do it, everything older than a date. But we're going to order by. There's a little trick here. So let's go look at this column, because I'm going to order by employee, but this is the OData query. So like if you rename it, it wants the original name. So let's just go look at it. And if you're having trouble, this can be what it is. I'm going to go look at employee here. And what you want to do is look at this field equals. If this has a different name than what your column name is, just use that. Okay, but in this case it's the same, so I never renamed it. So I'm going to order by employee like that. And so the key is because whenever I change employee, I'm going to go ahead and send the email out. So that will get all the items in the list. But like I said, most commonly we do some sort of filter as well. So what I want to do next is we're going to need some variables here. And I'll probably forget some, so we'll put more in as we go along. But I'm going to call it old employee string. And I won't take the time, but just to kind of show you what I like to do is go like that, and so that it's commenting my code as I go along. But like I said, I don't want you to have to watch me type too much. So I'll call this new employee. Again, that's a string as well. And then what I'm also going to need is a variable to hold my information. So I'm just going to call it message. And I'll make that string as well. And then what we want to do is we're going to do a for each. And we're going to grab our value like that. So that's the going through each list. So it can even help us. What I like to do here is go ahead and edit kind of old school SharePoint. So we'll edit our list here and we'll order it by employee, or actually that's the order. Sorry, I'm not ordering it all, but we'll order it by employee, and then we don't really care the rest of that. But that'll help us kind of visualize what's going on, which didn't actually work here. Let's try it again. And we can actually edit the view from here too. It does say it would put it in sorting order, but for whatever reason that didn't work. So we'll hit it again. Not the biggest deal. Yeah. Oh yeah, there it did. It worked that time. So I'm going to get one from James. And so what I want to do is when I switch from James to Jeffrey to myself, then I'm going to go ahead and send the Teams chat in. And then when I switch from Jeffrey to Sue, then I'm going to do it again. But in between, I'm just going to add on to the list. So we'll build that as we go along. And then notice when we get to the last one, we haven't sent Sue's yet. And so after the loop, we're going to need to send it to Sue. Okay? And so we'll also want to be sure we don't try to send it on our first one. So the first time, our old employee will be blank and our new employee will be James. And so we'll be able to distinguish that. So what we want to do inside of our loop is we're going to now, again, do some variables. Variable I want. I'm going to set the variable. And again, I would put the name in, but I don't want to set up. So I'm going to say the new employee is, and then notice how I get all the things in there. And I like to do not the employee because that's a person object. So we don't know exactly what it is. So we just want to set that to be the email. That's what we're going to need from Teams and stuff anyway. And then we may need more, but basically for now we're going to say, okay, so we'll say condition. We'll say if new employee is equal to old employee, then we're going to go and basically add on to our message. Okay, so let's go ahead. That one's a little bit easier. So let's do the right side first because that's what's going to happen first. So the first time, since old employee will be blank and new employee we just set it right there. So that'll be James in the example. So these are not going to be equal, so it'll come in here. So first thing we're going to do is if the second run around, so I know that's why it's a little complicated. First time around, we don't want to send it, but second time around, when these two aren't equal, we're going to want to send James's one. Okay, so the way we can tell that is if old employee is not blank. Okay, so we're going to do a condition, and we'll say if old employee is not equal to, and we can leave this blank. And again, I would rename this so we can say what the choice is, like check if need to send email or whatever. And so what we're going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and both email and set a Teams chat. So let me do Teams first. And I like to post. So I'll post a message in a chat or channel. Post is the flow bot. And a chat with the flow bot. And then notice the recipient now is going to be the old employee. I haven't actually set that old employee yet, but that's what I'm going to be doing. That's going to be the email. And then I haven't set it yet, but we're going to put the message in there. And that's one reason we put the message in its own variable so that, you know, we don't have to duplicate it because the outlook's going to be the same. Okay, so it's again going to go to old employee, and you'll just say, I'll say notification, but we could have put something special out of our list, and then we'll go ahead and put message in there like that. So let's collapse that in there. So if old employee is not equal there, we may have to put something in. I've kind of forgotten the logic. We'll figure it out there. But for now, I don't think we do anything in the new. So let's just keep going to here, because what we've got to now do is we've got to go ahead and set our message. So let's put the variable in there. And we'll don't we buy it, I'm thinking. So we're going to set our message. And the thing to remember is we want to use HTML here. And actually, if I had my old chat, we could do it, or the old one where we were formatting that. But actually, you can go back to Teams and kind of get the gist of what we want. So let me do that. Go back to Teams, just because this is effectively what we want. So I'll just grab that over there, because this is all the stuff that's in the in your actions, if you will. So let me go back to there. And so the first time through, we're going to say start the message. So we're going to say these are all your personnel. I don't want to say all because it may only be one. These are your personnel action, like that. And we'll just use these as, we don't actually need employee name or email. Now we'll leave them in just for grins. It's kind of redundant since we know who we send it to, but then they know it's the right person. And we'll put a colon there. There we go. Effective date and description. Like that. Now notice when we get to the other side, we're going to add on to this. And then these we should all put break tags in there so they look good. So we'll put a couple in there like that, and we'll put one in between each of these like that. Oops. And we'll do two of those at the bottom. We might get an extra space. And then what we want to do is, so let me zoom out a little bit because it's a little hard to deal with that a little bit. There we go. Just need to put all these in the right spot. So we got employee display name. Should have really put a space in there. We got employee email. All our departments are empty, but it's just my personal account. Got effective date. And we've got description. Whoops, put that in the wrong spot. Now I'm going to copy all this because we're going to need that in a minute. So, oh, and I forgot to put title in. Where'd the title go? There we go. Come on. There we go. So I'll just copy all that just to have it. And then the other thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and set our old date so that when it rolls back around, I mean the old employee name, so when it rolls back around, then we go into the other variable. So we're going to set, and we'll say old employee equal to new employee. Like I said, we may do something inside the if we need it. So let's bounce over to this side. Okay, so now we're sending it, but if they're equal to it, so that will be the situation where we've done promotion, we put this in, and now we just need to add on the next one, detail, and then it'll go through again, performance review. Okay, so all we have to do here, go to variable again, is we want to increment, or append to a string variable. So we want to append to the message, and I can just paste in. Oh, and it didn't work. Let's try that again. Usually that'll work, but it's worth trying it again. Come on. Try using the mouse or the keyboard. I don't want to have to click all those again. Let's try it again. Yeah, I don't know where all that came from. Yeah, that's better. So what it should do is it should append on that. And so we're almost done, at least until we test it and see. But what we need to do is, again, consider that situation where, we want to send this again at the end. So we've got through it. So we're going to come outside the apply each, and we're going to do a condition, and we're going to say, okay, if, and we're basically going to do the last time through, we will have set the old employee and the new employee will be the same, so it really doesn't matter. But if it's not blank, because the thing could be totally blank where we don't want to get an error sending the message, so we got to make sure it's not blank. So just to be on the safe side, I'll use old employee here. It should have gone either way, but if it's not equal to blank, then we go ahead and just do our new messages here. So we can just like we did before, we'll do teams. There's not a good way still to copy these. I know you can copy in the personal clipboard, but I don't find that works very reliably myself. So I'll just set it up again. That's one reason we did the variable. So we'll do the chat with the Flowbot. Recipient, I think I used old employee. They should be the same. We'll grab message here, and we gotta make sure actually that I think we did initialize that message. So the message, because it could have gone through several times, but that message will be appended, but it's just never been sent. So the message should be fine, and we'll check it in our thing. So we'll do Outlook, same kind of thing. Send an email. Again, oh, and that's what, yeah. And actually, let's make sure the old employee, I'm not sure I set that right now. I think we got to make sure I set that to the email. So I'll just say notification again. And this will be message, and this will be old employee. So let's go over and check up here. Make sure when I set old employee. Yeah, it wasn't all that specific because new employee is the email. So since I said old employee, it's still the email. All right, let's save all that. Actually, it says it doesn't like something. Oh, it's just telling me I could filter it. But in this case, I know I don't want to filter it, so that's okay. All right, let's test it. Test it manually. It tells us I'm going to use these things. I say continue and run. So let's go check it out. So we know, let's go see how many things I have. Whoop, you can see I tell my other thing, I just got some notifications. So we'll pop over to it, but let's just go look at how many I expect to have. Didn't really count them up here. Go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I go to my apply to each, went to 6, so that's what we expect. So we'll come in here, set the new employee. That one didn't seem to have a value for whatever reason, but let's go in and see. So I don't think that actually worked quite as well because it went to a pinned variable first. So that didn't quite do what I wanted it to do. Mainly because the new employee was blank there. So let's go look and see the next one. Oh, I know that. That one's a little bit odd because I use my brother there and he doesn't actually have an email address in my system. So wasn't the best logic there because it didn't go through. But this one should have been fine. So we went through here and then we went into the condition and it didn't send the email because it's basically like it was the first one. And then we set the variable title detail, which should have been, like I said, we didn't really specify the order, so we don't know. It looks like it did detail first because this one's, the O data didn't necessarily use the same one, but that's okay. And then we went and set the old one to the new one. So this one, the new one's still me. So we went on to the second one over here. And so it appended that on there. So that's good. Did this again. Again, it appended on. And then this is the one we want to watch. So it went in. Now they don't match. Whoops. And now it posted and sent an email. And then, like I said, I think my wife's one is blank too. So let's see what happens on the last one. Yeah, so that one we didn't send. So like I said, I needed some more people in our things, but it looks like it did work. So let's go in to our Power Automate. So here's my actions, detail, then promotion, then performance, review. I'm not sure what those little blank things are in there. I must have had an extra detail. Let's go look and see at the code. I mean, an extra thing in our variable there. So let's go look at. Here's the title. Let's look at the end. Just not sure why the extra detail came in there. Title. Oh, it's because of this one. See, I got an extra one in there at the bottom. That's why, if we look back over, that's what this thing is. So that's why I did promotion, detail, because I had that extra space. But we can fix that and save. Let me go fire up my email. I didn't do that yet, and we'll look at the email itself. While that comes in, I'll go ahead and save this, fix that problem. All right, I've got that email, so let me bring that over here. So again, it looked the same. We already talked about that extra detail in there. So it gave me all the information at the same time. So overall success. I could have probably looped better with one that wasn't blank there, and then you would have seen it gone into the different ones. But the logic there is sound. So hope that helps, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. That helps get the word out to others. Talk to you soon.